Okay, guys, Larry David has absolutely ripped Bill Maher for his whining and dining affair with Donald Trump a couple weeks ago, where he wrote an op ed in the New York Times, kind of a satirical piece, where he basically said, "Hey, if you're willing to meet with Trump, would you be willing to meet with Hitler?" And the entire purpose of the article was basically, hey, so, if you were Bill Maher in 1939 and you got an email or something, or obviously you couldn't do email in 1939, if you got a message from Hitler saying, hey, come over for dinner, let's have a great time and let's talk about things. How would you feel afterward? Would you be saying the same things you're saying now? And again, of course, a lot of Republicans and conservatives are freaking out over the invoking Hitler. Oh, Trump derangement syndrome. He's comparing him to Hitler. That's not what he was doing at all. He was making a satirical point in the art. The entire thing was kind of satirical in the sense saying, basically, who cares how he acts in public as opposed to private? I mean, or excuse me, how he acts in private as opposed to public. What he says in public is what matters. And then Bill Maher going out there basically saying he's not a crazy person. He's not a crazy person. He was really nice. I've never seen him laugh before. All this ridiculous coddling of Donald Trump by Bill Maher. And to be clear, yeah, he was trying to charm you, Bill. That's his point, because his entire goal and purpose was to get you, Bill Maher, one of his fiercest liberal critics, to do exactly what you did. You bought it hook, line, and sinker. I think it's very obvious, okay? And also, it's kind of hypocritical for Bill Maher, too, because, of course, after the fact, he said, oh, we both agreed. Oh, anyone who doesn't like this, you're the problem. Very smugly in Bill Maher fashion, which is kind of ironic coming from Bill Maher because, again, he says that he wants to talk to everybody and he thinks conversation is great. And he's one of those people. But when's the last time Bill Maher had someone from the far left or even a Democratic socialist on a show? Like, he hasn't had a Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball. He hasn't had any of these people on these shows in recent times. It's not just them. It's have on even Bernie Sanders hasn't gone on the show in a long time because also, even pro-Palestinian voices, which Bill is a staunch supporter of Israel. He hasn't had any pro-Palestinian voices to have that conversation on his show, which is very deliberate. So it kind of falls on sour ears when this is coming from Bill Maher. That if you don't want to have the conversation, if you don't support this, you're the problem. Yeah, and when you say stuff like that, Bill, you're going to be subject to criticism because you're making a very strong point saying if you have a problem with this meeting, then you're basically the problem, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And Bill and Larry David, I think they're friends too. He's been on Real Time in the past, Larry David. So, and again, he's also like a liberal, centrist liberal, kind of in the same political sphere. So it's interesting to see if Bill's going to address this at all. But let's just get into the article here. So, Curb Your Enthusiasm star Larry David skewered comedian Bill Maher's recent meal with President Trump in a satirical essay in the New York Times, My Dinner with Adolf. And of course, again, the Republicans freaked out over this, always comparing it to Hitler. Guys, it's comedy. I know you guys don't understand that sometimes, but it was a comedic piece. That's the entire purpose of the article. So here's some of the major lines from the piece. Here I was, prepared to meet Hitler, the one I'd seen and heard, but the public Hitler. But this private Hitler was a completely different animal. And oddly enough, this one seemed more authentic. Like this was the real Hitler. The whole thing had my head spinning, Larry wrote in a 6-paragraph essay. 2 hours later, the dinner was over, and the Fuhrer escorted me to the door. I'm so glad to have met you. I hope I'm no longer the monster you thought I was. I must say, my Fuhrer, I'm so thankful I came. Although we disagree on many issues, it doesn't mean that we have to hate each other. And with that, I gave him a Nazi salute and walked out in the night. And again, it's very obvious the point he's trying to make. Who cares how he's acting in private? He's still doing things publicly which are completely insane and detrimental to the United States, which you also publicly say you agree with. If you're like gonna do this stuff, at least, and you believe MAGA stuff, which I don't think he does, then just say that. Then just say that because doing what you're doing, it makes no sense, especially the point you're again, if he went there and was ripping Trump and he came out of it saying, hey, yeah, I really grilled him, we debated the entire time, fine. And you pressed him very hardly, fine. But don't come out of here saying, oh, he's not crazy. He's actually a very nice guy in private. Like, give me a break, Bill. Give me a break. And 2 hours later, the dinner was over, and the fewer. Okay, so we said this already. David's characterization of the imaginary dinner mirrored language Maher used in describing his real-life meeting with Trump on HBO, Real Time with Bill Maher. The 69-year-old comedian said that the guy I met was not the same as a public-facing Trump, describing the president as gracious and measured. Who the hell cares? And you can say that, that's fine. And again, I think Bill, and it's interesting too, Bill also in his little monologue about this, he basically mentioned, oh, I could never feel as comfortable meeting with Clinton and Obama. And then the mask comes off because again, what Bill is trying to do is okay. Bill Clinton and Obama, they never had me for dinner, so he likes it that Trump had him, and that's definitely going to affect his rhetoric towards him. I don't believe it's not going to. And if you think that, maybe I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's pretty clear Bill's rhetoric towards Trump is going to be softer because he met with him. It's common human nature for that to happen. We had spoken about American politics and how some on the left and then in the center think it's important to talk and engage with President Trump. Like many people, Larry listened to Bill Maher talk about his recent dinner with Trump. Bill, a comedian Larry respects, said in a monologue on his Max show that he found the president to be gracious and measured compared with a man who attacks him on True Social. Which, by the way, that's kind of insane. If you're gonna, because again, right before Bill Maher went, and Bill, to his credit, to bring this up, it's not like he left this out. Bill said the night before, Trump was brutally attacking Bill Maher, calling him a low rate comedian. I don't think it's a good idea that I'm meeting with him. And then the next day, he's acting super nice and gracious towards him. That's kind of sociopathic and insane, if you ask me. But okay, you can think what you want about that. And again, and it also mentions here, it's super important to note, Larry's piece is not equating Trump with Hitler, but he's basically making a satirical point, but it has a lot of its factual basis behind it. It exposes the ridiculousness of the point Bill is trying to make, that he's better. He's like, oh, he's a nice guy in private, so maybe we're not so bad. And again, he says, oh, that's not the point of it, but that's how it was presented to the public. Fox News ran with it. Oh, Bill Maher met with Trump. This is a great thing. So again, it's important to note how this is utilized and how it's presented on other right-wing media platforms. Okay, so Larry's trying to make the point, hey, it doesn't matter, Bill, and you sound like a fool when you're saying all this great stuff about Trump when it's very obvious in my eyes what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to flatter you in private so you can say nice things about him publicly. I think it's very obvious, and frankly, it was very smart for Trump to do that. It's not a good look for Bill, and I think Larry makes a really, really good point in this article, and he's a high-profile comedian too, so Bill's absolutely going to see this. He's absolutely going to see this, and it's going to be interesting to see him address it. And maybe Bill would have more credibility if he actually had more leftist people on his shows, which he obviously does not want to do. Very telling. I thought Larry David did a great job here and kind of exposing the ridiculous of this meeting he had. So that's what I got for you guys today. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm. My Patreon and Amazon links are in the description as well, so check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.